What's up, folks? Romeo Tango here, and we have story time. So today was range day. Today was not a good range day. The weather was just terrible. It was just raining off and on, so I really couldn't do a lot of footage because I want to get the camera equipment wet. So I did what I could. Today was not a traditional range day. Today was a training day for some friends of mine. Myself, my buddy Roy, we both had some people contact us and ask for some training, so that's what we did. So, of course, the person who asked me to train them had all kind of excuses. They don't actually have a gun, but the type of work they do, they have to carry a gun, and they wanted some additional training. They wanted to get better at handling a pistol is what they asked for specifically. So like, hey, I like to go to this indoor range, and I like to rent a gun there. So I don't have a gun, I won't be able to come to where you are. Off the top, wrong person to have that excuse with. I told them, don't worry about it. I have a ton of guns. There's a ton of guns here. We have a ton of guns here. Probably had over 20 guns with us, collectively. So they show up eventually. A little late, I got there at 10. They arrived close to 11. So prior to their arrival, I did what I normally do, which is start off with some accuracy drills. So this is the dot torture paperwork here. And it's got a series of different circles, and each circle has a different thing you have to do for it. So of course I got cocky towards the end. I was feeling myself. And I decided I had some extra rounds. I already completed the drill, so I was gonna speed up and punch more holes in here. It's supposed to only be 3 holes in each one of these, but obviously there's more. So great accuracy test here. For those of you who like to go to range and really test yourself and really train, I recommend it. This is it without the holes in it. It's definitely something you can find online and print off. All you need is one copy and just make copies of that copy. Have an original, just make copies. So anyway, so they show up. Also zeroed my Tavor. I worked on that. I changed the optic on it. Still one of my favorite guns. So if you remember, I had the 1x6 on here. So I took that off. I'm gonna put the 1x6 on my 308 rifle. So I'll put this optic on here. It's laying around the gun safe. And I like it. I like it. This is such a fun gun to shoot. If you haven't looked into bullpups, this is one of the better models of Tavor. Really fun to shoot. A little on the pricey side, but fun to shoot. So then my friend arrives. So I've got a gun case. I've got CZ Shadow 2. I've got my FN 509 TAC. I've got my 19X, and I've got my Canik Combat Elite. So to walk them over to the gun case, tell them pick out a gun. Of course, they pick out something they've never shot before, never seen before. Probably the most luxurious looking thing in there, or this or the 509. So the first question I ask is, have you ever fired an optics ready gun before, a gun with an optic? The answer was no, but they had to have it. They had to have it. So, okay, go for it. So let me demonstrate how we started off. And this is training value for everyone. It's not me poking fun at them. This is training value for everyone. So first thing to do, grab the gun, we're at the firing line, and I tell them get ready, load the mag, everything, put the gun to the ground. Then from the ground, they scoop the gun up, then they bring the other hand up, and then they engage target. I'd say, hey, fire one shot at the head, one shot right here, fire there. So I said one shot. So they're shooting and they're hitting everything around it, everything, not hitting what we're aiming for. So pause X, pause X. We're gonna readdress this issue. We're gonna re-engage what we're talking about here because we're not doing what we're supposed to do right now. So I tell them, I don't think that's the gun for them. They're not ready for that because if they're having trouble hitting with an optic, they're gonna have trouble hitting with irons. So switch over to the 19X, walk them through the mechanics of just firing with iron sights, equal light, equal height. So we're here. We're now with this, and we got to address this because this is no good coming from here to here. Like drawing from the holster, putting the gun here, then bringing it up here. It's no good. So I teach them. All right, with your offhand, I want you to put it right here on the chest, just like this. So you can draw from the holster, bring it up. All right. bam, pointing forward, bring it up. Then from here, you get your grip ready, you're ready to go. So we're working on this. And they're complaining, it's uncomfortable, don't like it, blah, 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 blah. But I wouldn't let them get away with it. When they didn't do it, put it back in the holster, do it again. So I got them going there. We're doing this, making some headway. And we're still aiming for that same dot. And they have their front sight post low, and they are continuously hitting in the throat area of the target. Bring this back up. So they're continuously hitting in this area here. So we're working on it. All right, get that front sight post up. So we get a shot. We're here. All right, put it away, draw it out again, and we're back down here. So I'm coaching them through, getting their grip right. We're working on that. Another demonstration for you. So you have different styles of pistol grips on guns. So with the majority of your polymers, they're going to have this kind of non-standard, or I guess it would be standard now, where it's more of an aggressive grip, where it's leaning forward, that barrel's riding forward. So when you grab these style weapons, this is different than your 1911. This is different than your Beretta, which is more of an L shape. So with these style weapons, you're gonna grab them like this. You're gonna get it up high in the back, get a nice firm grip on it. You're gonna bring this hand around, and you're gonna rotate this wrist. Thumb's gonna be right here. Now you can see my arm is locked out. Straight lines are better than crooked ones as far as absorbing that recoil. So we got them working on that, and they hate it. They absolutely hate it. They also had the issue with being afraid of the gun and kind of leaning away from it and firing, bringing their head to it, and not bringing the gun to their head and getting behind it. So work those kinks out, got the grip right. So then we just had to focus on the trigger squeeze. That's where our new problem was developing, because we were going left and right. And also breathing. We were left and right, and we were up and down. So once we got all that narrowed in, now I have this person hitting exactly what they mean to hit. So we did all those rehearsals on this target right here. Once we start hitting that circle, we move back over here. We were tearing this circle up. So then we moved over to here. We were tearing this circle up. Then we moved down here. We were tearing this circle up. I'd say maybe we spent an hour and a half doing that. Mind you, this person brought 200 rounds with them. And I made them own every single shot. Like, if you think you're coming to the range to receive training from myself and just gonna do mag dumps and go home, no. So with 200 rounds that they brought with them, we shot for 3 hours before we expended all the rounds they brought with them. So once I was comfortable with them handling firearm, manipulating the firearm, manipulating the slide release, mag changes, we moved over to some fun stuff. Started having fun, because now they're hitting what they mean to hit. They're hitting exactly what they're aiming for. So we go over to the steel. So we've got the plaque rate. I said that wrong. What do we have? We had the plate rack. I said plaque rate. The plate rack, and it's got 3 targets underneath of it, 3 steel targets underneath of it. So we're engaging far left, far right, far left, far right, far left, far right, until they're all down, 6 targets. And now they're having trouble because the front sight post is low again. So I have to remind them, you gotta align those front sights. And they tried to quit. They tried to quit so many times throughout the day, because I was making them own every single shot that came out of that gun. And here's why. In a self-defense situation, and especially in the line of work that they're involved in, you're responsible for every round that comes out of that gun, every single round. So if you're pointing that weapon and you're firing at something and you're not hitting what you are aiming for, you're not hitting your intended point of impact, something's gonna go wrong. Especially if you're hitting off to the sides and the person's wearing loose fitted clothing and it's just blowing through and out, you're hitting whatever's behind them, and that's a problem. So when you train, you need to train and hit exactly what you're aiming for. I know mag dumping is fun, it's cool. I know shooting steel is fun, it's cool. But even if you hit the corner of the steel plate, it's gonna ping, but it's not an accurate shot. You didn't hit exactly what you meant to aim for. And that's why it took 3 hours to go through 200 rounds, because I would not allow them to move left, right, do any type of movement with that gun in their hand until they were hitting their intended target. And that's a note for everyone that's out there training with firearms, training someone with firearms. You need to hit that intended target. If you're aiming for it, you need to hit it. Nothing more, nothing less. Don't settle for anything else when you're training someone. So we're taking care of that. We got all those issues out of the way. So now we're over at the steel plates, and we'll say that they are America's cutest couple. Dude's there with his girlfriend, good-looking couple. He's teaching her so wrong. And the new shooter I had with me, I had them look. Hey, check it out. Look at what they're doing. What do you see wrong's going on? They were able to pick out what they saw was wrong and what they could fix. And this dude's girlfriend looked like she wanted us to help, because I could see her looking over at us training the shooters that we're with versus the type of training she's getting, and she's not doing a good job at it. Her grip was off, so she's holding the firearm, and she's holding it like this. This is how she's shooting. She's right-handed. So she's got this finger up here. There's no light on it, so her finger's just here flapping in the wind. And every time she shoots, she's squeezing the trigger. She squeezes the trigger, and the gun's just doing this, like not in her hand well at all. And of course, they're shooting at a huge steel plate. So yeah, you're gonna ping it. Like, it's gonna make a sound, but what's happening behind that gun is not taking a good effect at what's happening downrange. And it was just cringeworthy. I wanted to help, and I know everyone we were with wanted to help and give some tips, but I'm not going to approach someone who's not looking for help, because you can just piss people off that way. Again, this is not the video I wanted to make, but this is the video that people deserve. So my advice to new shooters out there. Here's my advice. Typically, what a new shooter will do, and not to poke at women shooters, female shooters, you'll pick out the smallest, cutest looking gun, probably the Tiffany blue guns, and they'll be tiny, little subcompacts. And that is the worst gun that you can choose for a first firearm. And here's why. You'll pick 380s. Here's why those little guns are bad. So, you pick a subcompact. It's gonna be a short gun, probably about here. Tiny little gun, probably from here to here, where my fingers are lined at. It's gonna be tiny. It's gonna be awful. So when you shoot that small gun, it's getting the same explosion because it's shooting the same ammunition. It's gonna flip. It's gonna flip on you. It's gonna feel nasty. You're gonna hate it. So if that's your first experience with a gun, you're gonna absolutely hate it. What I recommend for those of you who are trying to get, family members in the shooting, trying to get friends in the shooting, for you first-time shooters who are following along with me, pick a long slide gun for your first gun. That long barrel will help you prevent that dreaded muzzle flip that people are going to get, and they're going to hate if that's their first time shooting. They're going to absolutely hate it. It's going to kick. It's going to kick back. You're already not trained to properly manipulate, handle firearms. So then when you got a gun that's doing this on you, you're going to hate it. You're going to want to put it down. You never want to shoot it again. You're going to put it in a drawer. It's going to be loaded, and you're going to defend yourself, your house, your family members with that, and it's not a good time because you're not properly trained.